Hi guys, this is Dan with another short video on a vintage Pachinko machine. This one is kind of an interesting machine. This is a Monaco. Certainly not one of the more prolific brands. I've run across them before, but not one of the more prolific brands out there. It does have nice licensing stickers. Unfortunately, there's no show a year on it. So I don't know the date. My guess is from the 60s. I think that's when most of the single shot machines were popular and in production. I'll explain to you what I did to this machine. This is kind of a special deal. This is a functional restoration on a machine that was one of the 40 machines that Rudy and I bought. And some of these were pretty dirty. And this particular one was pretty dirty, and the playfield is still quite dirty. This whole front was very, very dirty. But I take all of this stuff off to do even functional restorations. So all of that got cleaned. I ended up cleaning the chrome frame, and I cleaned the wood. So the front of it looks a whole heck of a lot better than it did. Again, the playfield is got a lot of probably 40, 50-year-old dirt on it. The customer at his leisure can clean that because he didn't want to pay for the full restoration on the machine. So let me show you the back of it, and I'll tell you about some of the things that I had to deal with on this particular machine. These things I like these machines. I like working on them. They're certainly not, you wouldn't want to make one of these machines your first choice. They're quite complicated, a lot of little parts, and you just have to be very, very careful of what you're doing. A lot of tin, and this is some aluminum. The tin rusts quite badly over time. That's not really a problem because I use the Evapor Rust and the Sonic Cleaner, got all of that clean, and then I clear coat this just so that it keeps it from rusting down the road. One of the major problems with machines that are this old is with this plastic here. This is very susceptible to temperature changes, and it will warp. And over here, there's a piece, and right there, it actually bows in. It warped, but fortunately, it doesn't interfere with any of the action of the machine. So when I first put this together, let me back up. When it was filthy and dirty, I tried it, and it worked. So I knew it was okay. So now I've got it all put back together. Many, many pictures, a lot of referring back, a lot of blowing those pictures open and saying, what the heck is that? And so on and so forth. But I got it all put back together again. And initially, it wasn't working right at all. And I realized that this mechanism right here is on vintage Pachinko machines is common. This is the jackpot arm assembly. It forms a backwards C, and they're all basically the same on every Pachinko machine. The vintage Pachinko machines I've worked with, these guys, the Model A's, the B's, and so on. Not the Model A's, any Model B style machine. It's that backwards C. So it starts at the jackpot. There's a pivot here, a pivot here. It pivots into a vertical rod. It then goes across, and the tip of the jackpot arm sits right in here. So the way these things work is any winning ball gets captured within the plastic, drops down, goes into the end of the seesaw. This seesaw is just a little piece of brass, but it tips. This is kind of interesting. I'm going to see if I can bring this in. Actually, let me do this. Okay, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time for the quality of this video, because I just messed it up beyond belief, but I should be able to edit it all out, so it may end up being smooth. So we'll talk about this in just a minute. So when you go to load these, I have no idea how the ball dump works on this. The fingers are here, but there's not a ball dump chute as there is in some of the older machines. I don't know if it's missing. or it just was never there. But you are going to fill it up the same way, a handful of balls. They're going to run down here into the turnaround, form a double row, and load the jackpot, 14 balls on either side. And when you've got that, you just want to really load this thing up like that. Now, there are no lights on this machine. There never were. There's no holes in the board to have lights shine through. So this one just never had lights. So there is a window right up in here on the front, and that's where you can see the balls. So as long as you can see balls through the window, you know you have enough in the machine. Eventually they're going to run down past the window, and that's a visual clue to say, hey, I need to put some more balls in the machine. So it's interesting. The jackpot drops down through this and goes right out, but as it drops through, it resets all of this. So it's really a very cool mechanism. Okay, let's turn it around and I'll show you how it plays. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to talk about. I had an interesting conversation with one of my customers yesterday, I think, and what he was telling me is that he had a single shot, and it would launch 3 balls, and if you take, I don't know if I can get this to do it or not. Yeah, if you launch hard enough, it'll go all the way around and come back down. So his complaint is that it was launching 3 balls, and they were all going all the way around. So my initial thought was just way too much tension on the spring. And I said, hey, this is my take on it. It's a single shot. You put 1 ball in and you launch it. There we go. Why? Always in the video. There we go. Okay. And you play 1 at a time. And then I got thinking about this overflow feature, or whatever you want to call it, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. And I thought, how do you ever get, 2 wins at the same time if you're single launching? And then I thought, well, wait a minute. So I put 2 balls on the launch ramp and launched them. And now you do have to increase the spring tension. And I thought, well, maybe that's the way the Japanese played the single shots, where they would load 2 or 3 or even more balls in there and then would get the multiple wins. Okay, so anybody out there that knows any more about single shots, if that's the way they used to play them in the parlors, by all means, leave a comment. I appreciate all the support on the YouTube channel. It's growing. Which is still amazing to me. I love it. I answer every comment that anybody makes on the page as quickly as I can. And as always, if you go to the website and leave me your contact information, just please be aware that I'm going to call you back probably right after you leave the contact information. So look for that 585 phone number. And if you have a Google Assistant answering the phone, I'm going to hang up. Not a fan. Sorry, not a fan. Okay, so what happens here is if you get a double win, and I'm going to simulate a double win by dropping 2 balls in at the same time. Okay, so 1 paid out, and I don't know if you can tell, but the second one is now sitting in here. All right, so let's do that again. Okay, so again, the first one pays out. The second one is sitting in here. Okay, so now you as the player are done. You're getting ready to leave, and you want to get all of the balls that are coming to you. And you notice that there are 2 balls in here. Now, I believe this can hold 4. I'm not sure. 4, maybe 5. I don't know. I didn't try to load it up. So here's what you do. This blue button here, when you push, it's going to lift a ball up so that it rolls back into the seesaw and will pay out. And then when you do it again, you get the second ball that was tucked in there. Okay, so let's launch a couple more balls here. Got a little wind. And what just happened is the balls that were visible up here are no longer visible. So that's definitely my cue to take the winds and just dump them back into the upper hopper, or let them fall all over the floor like they usually do when I'm making the videos. And then you're going to see a stack of them there, and then you know, oops, and you know that you can continue to play. I did tweak the nails on this a little bit so that hopefully the new owner will get more wins. It's a matter of learning how to adjust your downward pressure. If I want to go all the way around like that, which you don't, but if you want to stay on this side, you want to go all the way down and let go a little bit. Oop, didn't realize there were two balls in there. Yeah, see, I don't like trying to launch two balls because I don't have the spring tension tight enough for two balls. Oop. All right, there we go. Okay, so normally you would put a ball in, and then if you want it on this side, yeah, okay, there. You'll learn how to get it on this side versus, oops. There we go. There, oh, almost. There we go. So you'll learn to be able to get the ball to stay on either side just by the amount of down and maybe let go a little before you let go. Okay, so that's the Monaco single shot with the overflow or extra wind feature, whatever you want to call it. Again, this was a functional only restoration done for the customer, but it's a pretty cool machine. I hope you like it. Thanks.